Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, state officials have released more information regarding the investigation into the Robbins Lumber Mill fire. We'll bring you the very latest.
Plus, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Hannah Pingree has picked up an endorsement from current Maine Governor Janet Mills.
And the Maine Discovery Museum and the Hollywood Casino will be hosting the Maine Science Awards for the very first time. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up, including a story about a woman who goes out into the forest, collects pine cones and all kinds of things. Cool. And then she makes animal sculptures out of them.
Yeah, the creativity is off the charts.
Yeah, I got to try one of these myself.
Me too.
It looks like a lot of fun. We'll tell you about that coming up too. But first, to check that forecast and look at the temperature, already up to 68 degrees. Yesterday was a scorcher. Today, very similar temperatures, getting back up into the 80s today. It's going to be a little humid, so you'll want to take it easy.
Definitely.
But if you don't like the warm weather, then hang in there. Tomorrow, some relief is on the way.
Yeah, cool down a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. We have an advisory posted. This right here is a small craft advisory that will last until 8 p.m. this evening along the coast. We are watching for some active surf that will be lasting until about that time frame. Meanwhile, we have some clouds that are approaching with a cold front off toward the west. We will have some more record highs that could fall throughout the region today as this cold front approaches from the west. As we do zoom things out, we can see that system right there. The good news, temperatures will become more comfortable once this cold front passes later on tonight. Meanwhile, here's the futurecast. Again, some showers and a few thunderstorms are possible today. Tonight we will become partly cloudy, and tomorrow a lot of sunshine will be expected. It will be rather windy out there today with some gusty winds up to 25 to even 30 miles per hour, and we will hold on to the wind later on tonight and the parts of tomorrow. Alrighty, your hourly forecast pushing forward. We will have some clouds and sunshine, a chance for a few thunderstorms during the afternoon with temperatures in the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Looks great. Thank you very much, Devin. We'll see you later on. Well, firefighters had their hands full with a stubborn fire last night in Vassalboro. They were called to the Platinum and Core scrapyard on Riverside Drive around 8:45 last night. Arriving units discovered flames had erupted in the rear of the building. Fire crews quickly deployed their lines and knocked down the bulk of the fire in a short amount of time. Then they spent some time with some overhaul, just digging through the debris, making sure all the hot spots were out. No one was in the building at the time of the fire, and no injuries are reported. The fire marshal's office now looking for a cause of that fire in Vassalboro.
Officials from multiple state agencies offered a robust update on the investigation into the fire and explosion at Robbins Lumber Mill on Friday. They've been conducting interviews and picking through the debris with hopes of finding a cause for the deadly event. Our Alex Schley has the very latest.
Officials have made it clear that this is still an open and ongoing investigation. Agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives have been called in to assist with the investigation. And as of tonight, at least 150 people have already been interviewed.
Over the course of the 48-hour period since fire officials came on scene, 299 first responders from 46 departments across Maine responded to Searsmont.
Monday, we brought in heavy equipment on the scene to assist investigators in moving the large metal pieces and the structural debris in the area where we needed to work. Investigators also utilized drones and mapping technology to document the locations of all the firefighting equipment that was left at the scene and damaged or destroyed.
Investigators say on Wednesday, several large cranes will be brought in to help address the remains of the silo.
Try to figure out what's left and what we can gain from the debris underneath. And the investigators will continue processing the scene carefully, methodically, and safely.
State fire marshal officials say they hope to complete the on-scene portion of the investigation within the next few days. From there, however, officials say they're still unable to provide a timeline for when they'll be able to officially say what caused the catastrophic fire and explosion. Maine State Fire Marshal Sean Essler says he has met with fire chiefs from the responding departments, and they wanted him to pass along their gratitude for the public's overwhelming support.
They want the public to know how deeply appreciative they are for the support they have received. One chief told me that the volume of hugs he has received has increased significantly in the last several days, and honestly, that says a lot about this area and its people.
In conjunction with the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation, the local assistance state team is working to secure state and federal death benefits for firefighter Cross and his family.
Well, we also learned that it took several hours before firefighter Cross could be recovered from the scene following the explosion. 8 people remain hospitalized this morning, including several members of the family that owns the Robbins Lumber Company. According to Fire Marshal's office, multiple departments sustained damage to their fire trucks and equipment while fighting that fire. Our Grace Blanchard has more now on how that's impacting departments that are already limited on their resources.
Seeing the plume of black smoke, it puts a lump in your throat.
In the aftermath of the Searsmont fire, the Belmont Fire Department is supporting injured firefighter Catherine Page and navigating the loss of a critical tank truck.
Everything in rural Maine volunteer department, everything matters.
Searsmont, Appleton, and Belmont all sustained damage to their fire apparatus, impacting area emergency coverage.
Searsmont's going to be hugely affected because they've lost 2 of their immediate mutual aid towns' trucks, plus their attack trucks.
On top of that, Chief Harford says the department lost between $50,000 to $60,000 worth of equipment that was on the truck.
All the equipment on them, that's thousands of dollars of replacement, and just some of the things are just irreplaceable.
They are exploring grant opportunities, but according to Chief Harford,
there's so many fire departments that are in need across the United States. They're just few and far between.
He says the area departments plan to lean on one another and share resources, but he says the truck is not their biggest loss.
Mr. Cross is our biggest thing we lost. I knew him personally. He was a tremendous firefighter, a tremendous person.
His message to others is simple.
If I can say anything away from the fire service, away from everything, is, come together as a community.
In Belmont, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, there are also multiple upcoming memorial events that we want to tell you about. First, at the Cross Insurance Center in Bangor on Thursday, there will be a celebration of life and legacy of Maine Game Warden pilot Joshua Tibbetts, who was killed in the line of duty in a plane crash last week. The service begins at 1 p.m. and guests should plan to arrive and be seated by noon. Also on Thursday, a fire department visitation will be held at Respada Funeral Home in Belfast to honor moral firefighter Andrew Cross. The hours are from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Parking will be located at Troy Howard Middle School, and shuttle buses will run to and from that funeral home. On Friday, a private funeral for family, close friends, and invited departments will be held at the Veracity Chapel in Morrill. Governor Mills has directed the United States and state of Maine flags to be lowered statewide from sunrise to sunset on Friday, May 22nd, in honor of firefighter Cross.
Governor Mills has also ordered flags to be lowered tomorrow in remembrance of Game Warden Joshua Tibbetts, who died in that plane crash, and for the Honorable Gerald Talbot. Talbot was Maine's first black legislator and the founding president of the Maine NAACP. He will be honored at Merrill Auditorium in Portland at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning. In a statement, Mills said, quote, Gerald Talbot made history as Maine's first black legislator and helped open the doors for generations of Maine people. Warden Joshua Tibbetts devoted his career to protecting the people, wildlife, and natural resources of our state. I urge all Maine people to join me in honoring their service and their lasting contributions to our state.
In other news this morning, Bangor police are investigating an alleged shooting incident that injured a dog. Details are few at this time, but Bangor police say officers responded to a call of shots being fired in the vicinity of March Street a little before 9 on Tuesday morning. According to the Bangor Daily, Samuel Robichaud told police that he took his dog out on a leash while taking out the trash and the dog somehow got away. A neighbor then opened fire as the dog ran toward the person. The animal has been transported to a local veterinary hospital where it is being treated and is expected to live. The incident remains under investigation and no charges have been filed at this point.
Hannaford Supermarket says a labeling error has triggered a recall of certain rolls from their stores. Hannaford says the impacted products are the 8-pack of Nature's Promise ciabatta rolls and the 8-pack of Nature's Promise cheddar ciabatta rolls. The impacted products were purchased between May 10th and May 18th and may be missing an egg allergen warning label. If you purchase these products and do have an egg allergy, Hannaford says don't eat them. Simply bring your receipt to a nearby store for a full refund.
The time now is 8:10. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, Republican candidate for governor Jonathan Bush was campaigning in Waldo County. We'll have more ahead.
But first, another look at that forecast. Today will be a partly cloudy day with a chance of thunderstorms later on. High temperatures around 87 degrees. A real muggy afternoon on the way. Partly cloudy and breezy tonight with lows dropping down to the mid-40s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and breezy. Highs around 63. We'll be right back.
Lights, camera, cheese! The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Let's kick it. The I Love the 90s tour is back, featuring Vanilla Ice, Montel Jordan, Tone Loc, be my queen if you know what I mean. Let's do the wild ride. Color Me Bad, and Young MC. It's the return of the I Love the 90s tour, Friday, May 29th, Cross Insurance Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com or the Cross Insurance Center box office. I Love the 90s tour live.
Thousands of kids like Caroline receive life-changing care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center each year, the only full-service pediatric program north of Portland. You can help support them by joining the Summer Classic 4 Maine Kids Golf Tournament, happening July 31st at Bangor Municipal Golf Course. Benefiting the Children's Miracle Network at Eastern Maine Medical Center, every dollar raised supports pediatric care today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Ready to tee up for a great cause? Visit northernlight.org/4kids to learn more and register today.
Republican candidate for governor and founder of Athena Health, Jonathan Bush, was campaigning in Waldo County on Tuesday. Bush received a tour of Matthews Brothers in Belfast. The company is the oldest window manufacturer in the nation. Bush is proposing what he calls the Belfast Playbook, a model he says has brought jobs and reduced the cost of living in Mid-Coast Maine. If elected governor, he says he wants to cut taxes and simplify regulations to help promote growth for businesses like Matthews Brothers and others across the state.
We want to be the small business capital of the world, but these medium businesses and large businesses represent the first jolt of economic energy if we allow this state's economy to wake up.
Well, Bush argues the state's overall business climate and economic outlook is poor compared to other states. He says his first act as governor will be to declare an economic growth emergency.
Meanwhile, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Hannah Pingree has picked up an endorsement from someone who is familiar with the job she's seeking. Current Governor Janet Mills endorsed Pingree yesterday, saying Pingree is best prepared candidate to lead the state through the challenges ahead. In a statement, Mills said, quote, "I have known Hannah for many years, and I can say without a doubt that she is a leader of courage, integrity, strength, compassion, and action. Someone who is unafraid to fight for what is right and who will deliver for Maine people day after day."
The Hollywood Casino will be partnering up with the Maine Discovery Museum for the inaugural Maine Science Awards. Officials from both organizations say people and institutions in our state are doing amazing work in scientific fields, and it's making an impact on Maine and in the world. In some cases, they say establishing an awards program to honor them is long overdue.
Science is happening every single day in Maine, and to think that we haven't recognized the people and the organizations that are facilitating that is just wild to me.
Officials say they are looking at the broad picture of science, not just specific categories, and they'll be taking nominations starting June 1st. Complete details will be on the Maine Discovery Museum's website, and the inaugural awards dinner will be held at Hollywood Casino in October.
Definitely a good thing to get some recognition in those fields.
Great idea.
Well, the time now is 8:15. After the break, there's new information regarding the deadly attack on the Islamic Center in San Diego. We'll have the latest ahead.
Plus, an artist from Blue Hill is creating sculptures that depict woodland creatures. We'll have those stories and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at EatonPaving.com.
Chevy drivers need a truck that shows up the same way they do. That's why Chevy Silverado is #1 in manufacturer loyalty. So they can go where others won't and always get it done. And as long as Chevy people keep showing up, we'll keep building trucks that do the same.
Now, well-qualified buyers can get 0% financing or $6,000 total cash allowance on this Silverado. Plus, get an additional $1,000 when you trade in an eligible vehicle. And now, eligible military personnel can get $1,000 bonus cash on most Chevy models.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
An artist from Blue Hill is using pine cones, moss, and other items that she finds in nature to create unforgettable animal sculptures.
Our Jody Hersey found her artwork on display at the Edith Dyer Library in Hamden.
This is Otis. Otis the otter.
Holly Bertrand's woodland creatures are on display on top of the bookshelves at the Edith Dyer Library in Hamden, and it's all thanks to her hairdresser.
The librarian, Mary Beckett, and I have the same hairdresser. And so my hairdresser said, you need to meet Mary, because I was just showing her some of your work, and they have the little library in the woods, and your things would be perfect there.
Bertrand, who taught art for 40 years in Bucksport, now spends her retirement days enjoying the Maine outdoors.
Through the woods, I would notice that a lot of mosses and lichens would fall out of the trees, especially after big windstorms and rainstorms. So I started collecting it and kind of experimenting with it to see how strong and resilient it is.
She uses paper mache as a base and then attaches moss, lichen, pine cones, or other items she finds on her walks to create her sculptures. Bertrand says it can take up to 30 hours to complete a piece of artwork, depending on the amount of detail she uses.
If I'm using a lot of pine cones with my work, I literally deconstruct the pine cone and take each petal off and trim it to size.
There are currently 18 sculptures in her menagerie, and there may be room for even more.
I may do a koala bear with a baby on its back neck. So I'm kind of branching out.
In Hamden, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
I love that.
I know, it's just so creative.
Yeah, I think too, again, I think it would be a great thing to do with the kids. Maybe come up with some, a couple of activities this summer.
Right.
One day you can go out and collect the things.
Sticks and moss and all that stuff. Yeah.
Good deal.
Well, now here's our full weather forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. Small craft advisory up until 8 p.m. this evening along the coast. Watching for some active surf as a cold front passes through later on. In the meantime, wave heights a little bit active depending on where you're at. The buoys just off to the south and west, not too bad at around 3 feet. Further off towards the north and east, a little more active. Again, that small craft advisory dropping later on this evening. A little more active farther out towards sea at around 4 to 9 feet according toward those buoys. Meanwhile, the air quality a lot better after we saw code orange air quality yesterday. No advisories posted, at least today. Meanwhile, moving forward, we have a cold front pushing in from the west and going toward the east. That'll bring us an opportunity for a few showers and thunderstorms. Dew points will be up there today as well. But once we get this cold front through, temperatures will drop, becoming more comfortable as dew points fall as well. So here's Futurecast. Again, some clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms today. Will become partly cloudy later on this evening. And then once we head towards tomorrow, some clouds still lingering, but a lot of sunshine will be seen. Once we head towards Thursday night, we'll lose the clouds, becoming mostly clear, and Friday starting off very nice with a lot of sunshine. So your muggy meter showing, again, dew points in the mid-60s today, so rather muggy out there. But again, once we head towards tonight, feeling much better out there as we do get that cold front through. So windy out there today with gusty winds up to at least 30 miles per hour, holding on to that wind later on tonight, and still more wind as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. Average high is 67 degrees, well above normal today, but feeling better as we head towards Thursday and beyond. So your forecast coming up for today, partly cloudy, a few thunderstorms, highs near record high temperatures in the upper 80s, and that southwest wind up to 30 miles per hour. For tonight, we have mid-40s out there, partly cloudy and breezy, northwest wind up to 25 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, lower 60s out there, partly cloudy and breezy, and that northwest wind up to around 25 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. Mostly sunny for your Friday with highs in the low 70s. Mostly cloudy for your Saturday with highs also in the low 70s. And then here we are for Sunday, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 60s.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bush. And I know what you're thinking, not another Bush, but hear me out. I'm not a politician or a lobbyist. I'm a veteran, an entrepreneur who created over 900 jobs in Maine. And as governor, I'll take a sledgehammer to Janet Mills' wasteful spending. I'll slash your taxes, property, and income, and put the Democrats' woke policies in the shredder. I'm Jonathan Bush. It's time for a... Johnny, don't touch the shredder!
Even if you have moderate to severe eczema, you can feel the rhythm, feel the flow. And Dupixent helps you feel the heal. It helps calm the key source of inflammation under the skin that can cause eczema. Some adults saw fast itch relief after the first dose and long-lasting clear skin at 1 year. Many even saw 90% clear skin. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Stay ahead of eczema and help heal your skin from within. Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent today.
Honey, where's the countertop?
I sent it out to the granite shop this morning to be replaced.
Wow! The quickest turnaround in the business, the Granite Shop in Sedgwick.
New information in the aftermath of the deadly attack on an Islamic center in San Diego. There are new details about the teens behind the attack, a troubling past, and how their lives ended on Monday. All of that as those who knew and loved the victims are coming together and speaking out. ABC's Sophie Flay with more.
A community coming together in grief at a vigil for 3 people killed in the attack at the Islamic Center of San Diego.
The hate behind this violence is wrong.
As we learn new details about the 17 and 18-year-olds identified as the shooters. Sources say last year, police in nearby Chula Vista made contact with Caleb Vasquez, then a juvenile, after someone who knew him raised concerns he was interested in extremist ideology and mass casualty attacks. An officer reviewed Vasquez's social media accounts, allegedly finding neo-Nazi rhetoric. But sources say the concerns did not rise to the level of an arrest. It's unclear whether there was any follow-up. Investigators say the 2 teens arrived at the mosque Monday wearing body armor and camouflage, armed with shotguns, rifles, and handguns, and ran past security guard Amin Abdullah, who exchanged gunfire with the teens before being fatally wounded. The gunman making it into the building, coming within 15 feet of the children at the Islamic Center school. But officials say they turned back to the parking lot to shoot 2 other men, Mansour Kaziha, who ran a shop at the mosque, and Nadir Awad, whose wife teaches at the school.
I felt a bit scared. My legs were shaking in my hands.
Police believe approaching sirens caused the suspects to speed off in their car, firing at a landscaper nearby, before sources say one teen apparently killed his accomplice before turning the gun on himself. Back in San Diego, the focus is on the lives lost. The daughter of security guard Amin Abdullah, who sacrificed his life to protect the kids in that school, remembered her father.
He stood against any form of hate. He took his job seriously to protect everyone here. He would want our community to stand together as one. That's exactly what he would want.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Meanwhile, a former teacher in Virginia who was shot by one of her young students has taken the stand in a first-of-its-kind trial. That teacher is not facing charges. A school administrator is for not doing enough to stop that shooting. Sophie Flay also has that report.
It was more than 3 years ago. Gunfire inside this Virginia elementary school. A 6-year-old shooting his teacher.
He was holding a gun, the student, and it was pointed right at me, and then I was shot.
First grade teacher Abby Zwerner was the one who was shot. The bullet went through her hand, narrowly missed her heart, and remains in her chest. She needed 6 surgeries and still hasn't regained full use of her left hand. Now, the school's former assistant principal, Ebony Parker, is on trial, charged with felony child neglect. Accused of ignoring warnings that the child, referred to as JT, had a gun and was violent.
I went to Dr. Parker and I told her that 2 girls came to me and said that JT had a gun in the bag.
Prosecutors also claim Parker denied a counselor's request to search the boy.
She didn't even get up from her desk. She didn't even leave her office. Warning after warning after warning, she did nothing.
But Parker's attorney pushing back, saying Zwerner failed to separate JT from his classmates and that other members of the school staff should have acted if they believed a gun was present.
Each one of those individuals had the authority to remove those classmates or to remove JT if they thought that those students were presented with any kind of threat or harm or danger.
A jury previously awarded Zwerner $10 million in a civil trial, finding Parker acted with gross negligence. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
A stunning addition to an unprecedented settlement to end President Trump's lawsuit against the IRS. ABC's Lionel Moyes is in New York with the reaction and what this means for the president's family.
This morning, critics reacting to an extraordinary move by the Justice Department, now declaring the IRS will be forever barred and precluded from prosecuting or pursuing pending tax claims against President Trump, his family, and their companies. One tax policy expert calling that a breathtaking abuse of the tax and legal system. It's an addendum to Trump's settlement with the IRS over leaking his tax returns. The administration is also defending a fund stemming from that settlement, $1.8 billion of taxpayer money that will be used to compensate people who claim they were mistreated by the Biden Justice Department, a group that could include people charged in connection with the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Will individuals who assaulted Capitol Hill police officers be eligible for this fund?
Well, as it makes plain, anybody is
just let me know if they're eligible for the fund.
Anybody in this country is eligible to apply if they believe they were victim of weaponization.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche is promising transparency, while Democrats claim it will be a slush fund for Trump allies. Senator Elizabeth Warren calling it an insane level of corruption, even for Trump. This is Vice President Vance in a White House briefing refused to rule out payments for January 6 defendants when pressed by ABC's chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl.
We do have people who were accused of attacking law enforcement officers. That doesn't mean that we're going to completely ignore some of the claims that they're going to make.
As for the settlement barring audits of President Trump's taxes, experts say it's a form of presidential immunity that could shield Trump from significant financial liability. Some, though, are questioning whether the Justice Department even has that authority. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
The Board of Peace, an international body set up by President Trump to oversee the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, will reportedly ask the United Nations Security Council to press Hamas to disarm. According to a Board of Peace report seen by the Associated Press on Tuesday, the principal obstacle to fully implement the ceasefire is Hamas's refusal to disarm. In a statement, Hamas rejected the report and said it contained fallacies, adding that it ignores Israel's failure to uphold the majority of its commitments. While President Trump's 20-point ceasefire plan does call on Hamas to surrender its weapons and destroy its network of tunnels, it also calls for Israeli forces to withdraw from Gaza, a new technocratic Palestinian government, deploying an international security force, and rebuilding the city following years of war. However, the Board of Peace said last week the truce has stalled since taking effect in October, adding, quote, "Reconstruction cannot commence where weapons have not been laid down." The report is expected to be discussed by the Security Council on Thursday when it meets to discuss the situation in the Middle East.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll hear from Bangor Beautiful about their tree planting project and so much more.
They'll let you know how you can get involved if you want to. That's straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Everyone deserves to be connected. Big cities, small towns, everywhere in between. And staying connected shouldn't break the bank. That's why T-Mobile and US Cellular have joined forces. And now that we've combined networks, T-Mobile covers more places than ever before. America's best network just got bigger. Join now and your plan price is guaranteed for 5 years. T-Mobile and US Cellular, better together.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, and it is also World Bee Day.
On this day, beekeeping events are held to educate the public about the importance of bees. Bees are one of the most crucial pollinators and have an important role in the food that we eat. But they've also been under threat, which is why it's important to consider actions to protect them. Some people consider taking up beekeeping as a hobby, but we can all take measures to help bees in our own backyards.
We sure can.
Yeah.
It helps with gardens too. Sometimes you can plant some pretty flowers near some other plants, and they'll all help pollinate each other, and in the end we all win.
Yeah, and no mow May, almost over.
Right.
And so that gives them a good chance to come out and pollinate as well.
I mentioned earlier, I made it till this past weekend.
That's pretty good.
My lawn was getting pretty high, and I had a great crop of dandelions.
Yeah, I had to get rid of them.
I had to get rid of those. But
yeah.
I left some for the pollinators and stuff off to the side. So
good.
Don't judge my lawn. All right, time for history. It was on this date back in 1862. President Abraham Lincoln signed the Homestead Act to encourage people to settle in the West. It granted 160 acres of land to any head of family who cultivated it for 5 years. And about 10% of the land area in the U.S. would be privatized by 1934. It didn't take long to turn a lot of wilderness areas into areas that had been settled.
Yeah.
In 1873 on this date, businessman Levi Strauss and tailor Jacob Davis were given a patent for blue jeans. The pants with reinforced metal rivets became one of the world's best-selling garments. And in 1927, aviator Charles Lindbergh took off from Long Island in the spirit of St. Louis. He used that plane to complete the first nonstop solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean.
And I learned today from you that that's in the Smithsonian.
It is. You can go by.
And you can go visit it, which is pretty cool.
Go by there so you can see the Wright brothers plane.
Yeah.
It's in there, all kinds of things.
So interesting.
One thing I didn't know about the Smithsonian, they have actually 2 air and space museums. They have the one right there on the National Mall, which is just incredible, the things they have in there. But over at Dulles Airport, just across in Virginia, they have a hangar out there.
Oh, wow.
You can go see the Enola Gay, the Space Shuttle Endeavour. I think it's
much to
Endeavour.
see and learn.
It's just full of history. I mean,
that's
this
so
giant
neat.
hangar full of really neat planes. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's worth a couple of days.
Craig is full of fun facts.
I'm full of something. Yeah.
In 1956, the United States exploded the first airborne hydrogen bomb over Bikini Atoll in the Pacific. In 1969, U.S. and Allied troops captured an important hilltop during the Vietnam War. The victory came after 10 days of bloody assaults and led to the growing public outcry over military policy in Vietnam. American troops who fought there called it Hamburger Hill because the high casualty rate reminded them of a meat grinder. And in 1990, the Hubble Space Telescope sent back its first photographs, offering unprecedented views of the cosmos.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actor Timothy Oliphant, who is 58 today, rapper Busta Rhymes is 54, and pop icon Cher is 80 years old today. Happy birthday to them and to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. We have an advisory posted. This right here is a small craft advisory that will last until 8 p.m. this evening along the coast. We are watching for some active surf that will be lasting until about that time frame. Meanwhile, we have some clouds that are approaching with a cold front off toward the west. We will have some more record highs that could fall throughout the region today as this cold front approaches from the west. As we do zoom things out, we can see that system right there. The good news, temperatures will become more comfortable once this cold front passes later on tonight. Meanwhile, here's the futurecast. Again, some showers and a few thunderstorms are possible today. Tonight we will become partly cloudy, and tomorrow a lot of sunshine will be expected. It will be rather windy out there today with some gusty winds up to 25 to even 30 miles per hour, and we will hold on to the wind later on tonight and the parts of tomorrow. Alrighty, your hourly forecast pushing forward. We will have some clouds and sunshine, a chance for a few thunderstorms during the afternoon with temperatures in the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Boy, it looks like a great day ahead
It
if you
does.
like this kind of steamy weather.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Well, now, or still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
And then we'll be hearing about planting a tree in downtown Bangor with a special guest. Don't go away.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
You know, we can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
I'm Jordan Wood. Everywhere I go, Mainers tell me they've had enough. Tired of higher costs, exhausted by endless wars, and worn out by corporate greed. Washington is failing us. It's time for a new generation to fight Trump and the billionaires. I've already taken on election deniers and won. I'll never take a dime from corporate PACs or lobbyists. I'm Jordan Wood, and I approve this message because I'll fight corruption, defend our democracy, and finally pass Medicare for all.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Congratulations, you have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is the perfect line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. This is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Welcome back, folks. We'll start with some breaking news in the NBA from Tuesday night. The Dallas Mavericks have fired their head coach. Jason Kidd has been let go after 5 seasons in Dallas. This comes after the Mavs missed the playoffs the past 2 years. Kidd exits with a perfectly even 205 and 205 record in his tenure as head coach. The search is now on for who will lead the charge and manage the Cooper Flag era down there in Dallas. A big decision ahead. We'll go to some high school softball action now. Let's make the trip up to Howland, where the PVHS Howlers face the Bangor Christian Patriots. Howlers held a perfect 8-0 record going into this one, looking to make it 9-0. This one starts with the Patriots in the first inning. Pitcher Addison Tucker hits one, and that takes her base. The Patriots were held scoreless in the first thanks to this great double play, caught for the first out by Paxton King and then thrown to Nicole Solomon for the second. Great play there. Tucker then keeps the Howlers off the board with this strikeout to end the inning. But that wouldn't last long. In the second inning, the floodgates open when Charlotte Doobie hits one. A few Patriots mishaps, all 3 runners on base to score 3-0. Then the same frame, McKenna Ireland hits this one deep, and everyone comes home. An inside the park home run for Ireland. That ends a 10-run inning for the Howlers. Folks, you were not seeing double. In the very next inning, Ireland does it again. A deep hit, this time to right field, and it's another inside the park home run that ends the game in a 3-inning, 15-0 win for the PVHS Howlers. Their head coach says the dominant win was a direct result of good decision-making on offense.
We've told the kids in practice and in the games that they really need to pick good pitches to swing at. If we're swinging at stuff over our head, nothing good's going to come from that. So just really waiting for what is their perfect pitch.
Undefeated. Now for some good news from the Boston Red Sox. While we've got it, they picked up a win over the Kansas City Royals on Monday night after a tough weekend in Atlanta. Pitching was again the key to success for the Sox, which has seemingly been the case when they've captured success this season. Sonny Gray had a great outing, going 6 complete innings while striking out 9 batters and giving up 0 runs on 5 hits with just 1 walk. Gray has been a positive for the Sox this season with a 5-2 record and a 2.93 ERA so far. He says he has one singular focus.
I don't know. My only goal is to win the games that I pitch, no matter what it looks like. I want to, like I said, my one goal is to win the games that you start, and you know that's all I really want to do.
Sox kept it going on Tuesday night, winning 7-1 against the Royals. They'll look for the sweep on Wednesday. It is an exciting time in professional sports as both the NBA and NHL are in the conference finals round. Let's start by taking a look at the NBA in the East. New York Knicks taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. New York coming off a series sweep of the 76ers, and the Cavs just wrapped up a 7-game series with the Pistons. That game 1 was on Tuesday night. In the West, the back-to-back league MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder will look to make a run at a second straight title in their conference final matchup against the San Antonio Spurs, but will have some work to do as Wemby and the Spurs are already up 1-0 in that series. Victor Wembanyama had a crazy performance in Game 1, dropping 41 points and 24 rebounds in that Spurs win. And let's freeze over the court and take a look at what's ahead in the NHL. They, too, are in the conference final round in the Eastern Conference. The Carolina Hurricanes will take on the Montreal Canadiens. Hurricanes are yet to lose a playoff game this season and have been patiently waiting for their opponent in Montreal, who just clinched their spot with a Game 7 win over Buffalo on Monday. And in the West, the dominant Colorado Avalanche will face the Vegas Golden Knights. Colorado may be the favorite for the Cup. They took care of business versus the Minnesota Wild to get here. The Golden Knights defeated the Anaheim Ducks in 6 games, so they make their way back to the conference title round. The conference final round will begin on Wednesday with the Avs against the Golden Knights. Very intrigued by that Carolina Hurricanes series. They've been in the conference final so many times. Will they finally get over the hump and make it to the Stanley Cup final? Time will tell. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. Right back after the break.
When Paramount Paving wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Paramount Paving in Old Town provides expert paving, seal coating services to eastern and central Maine. Currently booking for the 2025 season. Call for a free estimate today.
Hanks Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hanks Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Our message to the billionaire class is, your greed has got to end, and we are going to end it for you.
I agree with Bernie Sanders. That's why I co-chaired his campaign here in Maine. And that's why I'm running for Congress, to fight for a people's agenda. Tax billionaires, Medicare for all, living wages, affordable housing, universal child care. I'm Matt Dunlap, and I approve this message to ask for your vote.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
When Paramount Paving wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Paramount Paving in Old Town provides expert paving, seal coating services to eastern and central Maine. Currently booking for the 2025 season. Call for a free estimate today.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we're very happy to have Annette Dodd joining us from Bangor Beautiful today. For those that don't know, Bangor Beautiful is a local organization that does so much to really just beautify the downtown area. Thanks for coming, first of all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're one of the people out there, you're decorating for the holidays, you're planting plants in the spring. I mean, all kinds of neat things going on.
Absolutely. There are a lot of pictures of me up on a ladder taking care of things, for sure. Yeah.
And you've got another one coming up this week, too. People are planting trees in the downtown.
Yeah, we are planting 16 native trees on Main Street. Last year, we painted the waterfront concert fence. So this year, we're coming in and we're planting the trees along Main Street. And some of them are still up for purchase if you'd like to
Yeah, because it's
buy
like
Bangor
it's a
tree.
donation thing, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So you can buy Bangor a tree if you go to our website, bangorbeautiful.org, and you can buy it with your business name on it or to remember someone.
Yeah,
it's a great way to purchase a tree.
And you're going to be using volunteers to plant these. Is it this weekend they're doing this?
Absolutely, yeah. We're actually doing it on Friday.
Friday, okay.
And so if anyone's interested, you can come and help us plant these trees. We work in tandem with the city, so the city will be out there helping us water and mulch, and we dig holes, put the trees in. So
well, this is a chance to do something nice for your community and maybe learn something in the process.
Absolutely, yes.
And why do this? I think it's pretty common knowledge that it's important to have trees in places like a downtown area.
Absolutely. It helps with the heat index, so to keep those sidewalks from being just squelching in the summertime. Trees bring happiness to everyone's life. It's proven you live longer in a city with trees. They beautify, they help nature, they help with runoff, so when it rains, the water's not going directly from the sidewalk, bringing pollution.
Yeah, it probably helps, like you said, nature and the animals too.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so that's a great project. And that's not it. You have some other things coming up too. You're working on a mural at Farmers Market?
We are, yes. In fact, this Sunday we'll be at the Farmers Market in downtown Bangor, and we're painting a mural on the container, so the vendors there need a spot to put their tables and tents, and it's an ugly container. I love an ugly, wall or container because it's an easy way to be like, check out what public art can do.
Yeah, it's like a blank canvas.
Exactly, and anyone can come paint. We've got gloves and we have all the supplies, and you just come and say you want to paint, and you can pick up a brush and be part of it.
Yeah, you designed this too, right?
I'm currently
in the process,
still designing it. Yeah, I think this one's going to be a fun one because I'm doing collage. So I'm taking paint chips right from the store and I'm cutting them up to create fruits and veggies, and I'm trying to figure out how they'll go on, but it'll be simple and bold and hopefully really
readable
effective.
too.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. You rely so much on volunteers, and I know there's some families out there, they might have some kids who were thinking about finding something in their community. Some of these sounds like perfect for a kid to join.
Absolutely, yes. We have a lot of families come and volunteer. You can come dig in the dirt, help us plant the trees, or come paint. Both of those are great activities. So if you're interested in getting involved, again, bangorbeautiful.org, and you can find all the information on what we're doing and how to get involved.
Fantastic. And those are just a few of the many events. I mean, we're early in spring. I know you have a busy summer ahead. I was reading there's a film that people will watch teaching people about native plants.
Tomorrow, yes. We're trying a small film series. So on Thursdays at the library, we're going to be doing, tomorrow is actually on native plants and the importance of native plants. Very important for pollinators and ecosystem.
And again, you can find all this information on their website at Bangor Beautiful. Is it .com or .org?
.org.
And you also have a pretty good Facebook page too.
Yeah, social media.
We do, yes. Find us on social media as well.
All right, Annette, thank you so much for coming in this morning. You're welcome to come back anytime.
I will.
All right. We're going to send it back to Devin now for a final look at that forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. Small craft advisory up until 8 p.m. this evening along the coast. Watching for some active surf as a cold front passes through later on. In the meantime, wave heights a little bit active depending on where you're at. The buoys just off to the south and west, not too bad at around 3 feet. Further off towards the north and east, a little more active. Again, that small craft advisory dropping later on this evening. A little more active farther out towards sea at around 4 to 9 feet according toward those buoys. Meanwhile, the air quality a lot better after we saw code orange air quality yesterday. No advisories posted, at least today. Meanwhile, moving forward, we have a cold front pushing in from the west and going pulling toward the east. That'll bring us an opportunity for a few showers and thunderstorms. Dew points will be up there today as well. But once we get this cold front through, temperatures will drop, becoming more comfortable as dew points fall as well. So here's Futurecast. Again, some clouds and a few showers and thunderstorms today. Will become partly cloudy later on this evening. And then once we head towards tomorrow, some clouds still lingering, but a lot of sunshine will be seen. Once we head towards Thursday night, we'll lose the clouds, becoming mostly clear, and Friday starting off very nice with a lot of sunshine. So your muggy meter showing, again, dew points in the mid-60s today, so rather muggy out there. But again, once we head towards tonight, feeling much better out there as we do get that cold front through. So windy out there today with gusty winds up to at least 30 miles per hour, holding on to that wind later on tonight, and still more wind as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. Average high is 67 degrees, well above normal today, but feeling better as we head towards Thursday and beyond. So your forecast coming up for today: partly cloudy, a few thunderstorms, highs near record high temperatures in the upper 80s, and that southwest wind up to 30 miles per hour. For tonight, we have mid-40s out there, partly cloudy and breezy, northwest wind up to 25 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, lower 60s out there, partly cloudy and breezy, and that northwest wind up to around 25 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. Mostly sunny for your Friday with highs in the low 70s. Mostly cloudy for your Saturday with highs also in the low 70s. And then here we are for Sunday, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 60s.
Come home to the kitchen of your dreams. At Atlantic Designs, we redefine kitchen spaces, turning your dreams into reality. Our experienced designers ensure you get a stunning new kitchen while bringing function and style to every corner. Whether you're on a tight budget or ready to splurge, we've got the perfect plan for you. Your dream kitchen is closer than you think. So contact Atlantic Designs today and start the process. Your dream kitchen awaits with the kitchen people at Atlantic Designs.
We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
Meet the toughest team in the game. Bad Boy Mowers and Bad Boy Tractors. These powerhouses will do whatever it takes to win. Putting in the work with unrivaled engineering, game-changing features like heated seats and an Alpine entertainment system, plus durable implements and style that's in a league of its own. Bad Boy Mowers and Tractors. Power, performance, attitude.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah. You had me a trash panda.
That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
While finding a frog inside houses in Australia is not that uncommon, some Australian housemates' video went viral after they found a frog inside of their salad bag.
Honestly, so much feedback about it being AI. I feel like it's actually wild, the fact that we barely know how to use our phones, so I don't think we even could put something like that together.
Yeah, he was just chilling in the bag. I think he was having a hell of a time, really. But yeah, lucky the bag had a few holes in it and he had plenty of pastures to graze on. So yeah, no, he was enjoying it.
We released him. We got him out of the plastic and we set him free with his little snack of lettuce. We live close to a dam, so he was able to get next to the water again and get outside.
Yeah, just sitting there. So we thought we'd give him a wee send-off tune and we played Crazy Frog for him. So yeah, he was pretty happy again. Yeah.
The housemates named the frog Greg before they released him. The lettuce was bought from the country's largest supermarket chain, Woolworths. The company says it's an isolated incident and there's no other similar case reported.
Just one of those things.
I guess so.
You never do. You got to check your salad carefully when you get it.
I guess so.
So, yeah, I'm glad the frog's okay.
Yeah, me too. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, she's a political commentator, but please don't change the channel. She's promised to keep a lid on it here. It's Essie Cup! And joining Essie are longtime pals Bianca and David. Her show Abbott Elementary has been nominated for 24 Emmys. None for her though, obviously. It's Lisa Ann Walter. And joining her are returning champions, college buddies Christy and Megan. And now here's your host, Meredith